Actually, it looks quite churned up. It might actually be worse than it has been in the past. The Volkswagen Amarok has always been the premium, refined option in the dual cab market segment. This example we have here showcases that it does have a hard working side as well. This is the style variant, but it also is optioned with the off-road kit, so raised suspension and a snorkel. The style is the lower mid-spec trim level. You can get it with the TDI600, so that's the V6, which is what we've got here, or you can get it with the 4-cylinder engine as well. You're saving around $4,000 by going with the 4-cylinder. Inside, you wouldn't think this is kind of a lower spec model because it comes with these awesome Alcantara style suede seats with very chunky side bolsters. They're really comfortable. The only problem is, well, it's not really a problem, but just something to consider. With the lift kit, you've got to step up to get in, and with these big side bolsters, you can't just sort of slide across and in. You've got to lift yourself right up to get over the little bump there. Once you're inside though, you actually sit pretty low. It feels like I'm in a station wagon or a sedan or something, because you just feel like you're sitting quite low and the dashboard is raised up around you. I mean, you can raise the seat up as well. I just like to sit a little bit low. It doesn't have that full utilitarian atmosphere in here. It's quite closed in. The visibility is okay, but it's not the best in this specific class. But instead, you're getting that kind of premium sedan, low sunken feel. So it just depends on what you're after. Visibility out the front there is a little bit limited as well. It's got a huge side mirror, as Utes usually do, but that's the position of my eyesight. So if I look across, yeah, there's just a little bit blocked through there, and the snorkel actually takes up a tiny bit of room as well. And then out the back, the visibility is pretty good. The C-pillar is not too thick, and the rear windscreen is nice and big. But yeah, this is definitely more of a premium offering in this class. It doesn't feel like a typical hard-working ute. This is something that you could drive to church on Sundays or whatever, go out to dinner at a nice restaurant or something like that with it nice and clean, and it feels premium. I like Volkswagen's touchscreen setup over the Ford system. I mean, it's the same screen size, it's just got different software running it. You've got a main home button up the top here, a bit like an iPad, and then your common apps laid out in a grid style form. Down below, you've got these really nice buttons. They're pretty big as well, so you can use them with gloves on or whatever. Then you've got a separate volume knob, which is great to see. And then further below, we've got a wireless phone charger and some charging ports down there too. Further back, we've got the stumpy gear shifter, which is taken from Ford models. If you turn the vehicle off, it'll magically go back into park. And then further back, we've got the main drive mode toggle. So 2H, rear wheel drive. 4A, in this mode you can drive on the tarmac with the safety and security of all-wheel drive. Not many utes offer that capability. Just the Triton and the GWM Alpha, it's already all-wheel drive anyway, so you can drive on the tarmac, obviously. And then you've got your traction control and rear diff lock as well. I'm not sure about this wooden style trim. It's just a little bit, I don't know, tacky, I guess. It kind of looks like it comes from a caravan. And it's just up there on the dashboard and a little bit on the door trim as well. Other than that though, the interior trim is really nice. There's not too many scratchy plastics. That's a pretty tough plastic, but it's not, I wouldn't call it scratchy. Leather style of trim at the top with contrast stitching. And then more of that same sort of style of trim down below. Soft as well, so you can rest your arm on it or whatever. And it's got Ford's door handles. They do take a little bit of getting used to, but yeah. And in the back here, I might just open the window so you can see. Yeah, you've got that same style of trim for the seats. So really nice soft Alcantara style of trim. I don't know what it's called. I'll flash up exactly what it's called. But it kind of just, yeah, feels like microfiber-y Alcantara stuff. Passenger space in the back here is okay. The seat back doesn't feel that tall. I'm only short and it kind of feels like I'm running out already. But yeah, headroom is really good. I've got a bit of a cutaway in the ceiling, so it's definitely got plenty of headroom. And legroom is really good too. You do have some climate vents and just a 12-volt socket down the bottom. Pockets in both seats, and a center armrest with cup holders and bottle holders in the doors. None of that weird wood trim in the back here. You've just got this different carbon fiber style of texture, which is just introduced at the back. There's none of that in the front. Then right up the back, there's no cover for this variant as standard anyway. And as you just saw, there's no damping for the tailgate. It kind of doesn't slam down. It's very, they've worked on the geometry and weight balance of this tailgate with the Ford Ranger. So it actually feels really light. And it doesn't feel like it's slamming down really hard, but yeah, it's easy to lift up. It just doesn't have a damper, which, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. As long as it's tough and it lasts is the main thing, I guess. Just doesn't feel right just letting it slam down. Now I've got a number of little hooks on the side and then some at the front there, which are a little bit low. I would like them right down the bottom if it was my ute, just so I can tie things down, but that's a little bit low compared with some that have them too high in my opinion. And you've got a 12-volt socket in the corner there as well with some lighting. So the towing capacity is 3.5 tonnes, which is the maximum allowed for this style of vehicle in Australia. The gross combination mass is 6,400 kilograms, minus the curb weight of 2,378 kilograms. You're left with 522 kilograms for payload. So basically, if you hook up a 3.5 tonne trailer, which not many people do, I guess, if you've got a big boat or something like that, 3.5 tonnes, you're only allowed to carry 520 kilograms worth of things. So that includes passengers, any cargo in the tray, or any extra stuff in the trailer or whatever you're towing. That's still pretty good though, 522 kilograms. Some of the common rivals, you'd be surprised how much is left over. Like the Hilux is only about 150 kilograms left over once you hook up a 3.5 tonne trailer. But like with anything, I wouldn't tow a 3.5 tonne trailer with a vehicle like this anyway. You really want to have the vehicle weight higher than the trailer if possible, not towing something that's heavier than the vehicle that's towing it. It just doesn't really make sense just in terms of basic mathematics. This example also comes with the Goodyear Wrangler highway terrain tires, Territory highway terrain. So they've got a mild tread pattern there for a highway terrain tire, but yeah, they're not full aggressive all-terrains. 255/65 on the front and back. Let's go for a drive now and see how it goes. I'm not going to do the full performance test for this model because it is a very wet day today, but also we've already done the V6 Amarok before, but I will hook up the V-Box and just give you a quick example somewhere on the public roads just to show you what it goes like. I might put it into 4A just so it's got the traction there. If you've driven the latest Ford Ranger and you jump into this, there's no real resemblance in here that this is a Ford underneath, because Volkswagen has changed pretty much everything, including the steering wheel. It's completely different to the Ford steering wheel. I'll just put the climate on because it's starting to fog up in here. Easy climate control as well. You just push the climate button down below and it all pops up. You've got all your options there. The only thing is, I'll just stop for a second. The only thing is, when you push climate, if you want to change the temperature, you've got to go into the temperature button here, and then you can fiddle around with that. So it'd be nice if it was all just packaged into one widget, I suppose, because there's a bit of room there. There's mostly graphics and stuff that are taking up the space. I would prefer, personally, a separate climate control panel down below with actual physical buttons, but in terms of touchscreen operation goes, I think that's all right. You've just got that climate button right there. It's always there, and you just hit that straight away and get all your options. I might just turn the aircon on, actually. This has got the fully digital gauge cluster as well, and you can actually change through the different display modes. I've got it on the off-road status at the moment, but yeah, engine oil life, and you can actually toggle through different displays for the left and right. So I've got it on the average fuel economy on the right, and then the turbo boost on the left. I'll leave it on the power distribution just so we can see what that looks like. I've got it in two-wheel drive at the moment anyway. I really like this V6. I know it's not brand new, it's actually been around for a while in other applications, but it's just very smooth and very quiet. It produces 184 kilowatts and 600 newton meters, making it pretty much the most powerful and most torquey diesel option in this specific class. So that's excluding the big American trucks. And it just feels nice to drive. It's not clattery and typical diesel noise. It's very smooth, and it's got this bassy sort of background noise as well. It's because it's a big capacity diesel. It goes good, good kick down, picks up speed effortlessly. It's not fast, but it's definitely effortless. You don't have to push it hard to you know, maintain traffic speed and overtake and so on. It'll also be great for towing. If I was doing some towing regularly, I would definitely opt for the V6 just because it is more effortless. Fuel consumption is rated at 8.4. I'm averaging 10.9 at the moment, which is not too bad for a big 3-litre engine. But if you want absolute economy, the 4-cylinder engine in this uses 7.1 or 7.2, the official rating, which is actually the lowest rating in this specific class, even compared with the GWM hybrid. It's actually really good, and you can achieve pretty low in the real world as well. I can't remember what I last achieved in the Ranger with the 4-cylinder. I think it was about 8.5, which is really good for the real world, considering this is using 10.9. As for the handling, yeah, it feels pretty much the same. I do feel the center of gravity is a bit higher, and the tires definitely fold over a little bit more than the lower profile items on the upper spec models, but it still feels really good. It feels not cumbersome at all. It can turn in, the front stays very flat, very neutral. It feels more like an SUV than a ute, that's for sure. You've got a nice sound coming through that snorkel as well. Bit of turbo whistle and sneeze. It makes you feel like you're driving a big macho truck, you know, which it is exciting, and it does add a level of engagement with the vehicle, I guess. But I'm not sure what it does to performance, that snorkel, because it's got a longer route to go down before it reaches the intake. But I'm talking a very small sacrifice, potentially, in performance. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the handling of that. I mean, it's not quite as good as the standard Amarok and Ranger, which are at the, you know, pretty much the highest level for this class, in my opinion. It's just slightly down because you've got that higher center of gravity, and it just feels a bit taller. It doesn't feel as natural pushing it hard around corners as the slightly lower Amarok and its Ranger sister. All right, while we're on this little straight bit here, I might as well do a couple of 0 to 100 runs for you. I've got it in 2H, but we'll try it in 4A as well because it is a little bit damp. I've got the traction control turned off. I'm in normal mode. Got the V-Box outside and it's connected up here. Yeah, so that's probably not going to be a good time because it's just spinning everywhere. But it'll be interesting to see the difference anyway with 4A. So that's done 10.13 in the wet, spinning quite a bit. But we'll try it in 4A. Okay, same spot, flick it over into 4A. A little symbol up there on the dash saying 4A. Still with the traction control turned off. Hit go. Bring up the engine revs a little bit. Much smoother, no wheel spin whatsoever. That looks like it's done 8.80. Yeah, just keep in mind that wasn't a completely flat road. You can check out our full performance test of the V6 Amarok linked in the description of this video. Along an ordinary country road like this, the ride comfort is decent. I mean, it is firm, it needs to be, because it's got to be able to carry things in the back and tow heavy trailers, but yeah, I would say this is probably one of the most comfortable in this specific class, if not the most comfortable. The raised suspension, I don't know if it's made any difference. I'd need to drive them back to back. I mean, you'd have more suspension travel there probably, but yeah, in terms of comfort between the normal model, this has got the big balloony tires on it as well, tall side profiles, so that absorbs a bit of the impact as well compared with the higher spec Amaroks with the low profile tires. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a big difference anyway between the two. Out on the highway, yeah, it's definitely very smooth and quiet. There is a bit of noise coming from the snorkel there, the wind noise, but overall it's a refined package, especially compared with a lot of the rivals. Okay, off the road now. it is skipping around just a little bit at the back mainly. The front end feels planted and is absorbing the bumps nicely, and it's, you know, reasonably comfortable for this type of road. It's just the back is just skipping a little bit. I wouldn't say it's bouncing, it's just skipping over the, smashing over the tops of the potholes. I've still got decent steering. Okay, over this corrugated section now. No real vibrations or rattles in the car apart from my tripod in the back. But the trim at the front is not, it's all, yeah, very solid fit and finish. Okay, we'll put it into 4A. I might as well put it into 4H. We'll turn the stability control off. There are a bunch of modes you can choose from as well, like mud, ruts, and deep snow and slippery and all that. I don't tend to bother with that. I mean, it does provide a new dimension of interaction, I guess, because you can trial out a certain route on your off-road excursion, try the mud ruts mode, then try the sand mode or something like that, and see what does it better. But I feel like the vehicle gets through anyway. It doesn't really, you know, I'm in mud at the moment, but just because I'm not in mud ruts mode doesn't mean it's not able to perform. So here we can see the power distribution. It's exactly 50-50. I'll just put my foot to the floor. Yeah, and you've got exactly 50-50. Okay, first of the little bog holes. I think this will have no problem at all with all that ground clearance. Yeah, easy. One of the good things about the Amarok is that 4A mode. So yeah, you can drive along and still have the grip of four-wheel drive, but you don't have to worry, you know, if you hit a bit of a tarmac section or something like that, you don't have to quickly, oh whoops, I'm still in 4H, you know, you don't have to worry about it. You can actually leave it in 4A and it performs as a good off-roader anyway. You know, you don't need to put it in 4H. It just means you're locking the front and rear together in 4H. Okay, through this section, we've got the cameras activating. Yeah, no problem at all. It's got plenty of clearance. It's not going to scrub out in that. I mean, we haven't had rain for a while. It has been raining a little bit yesterday, but it's not heavy enough to fill up these puddles and so on. Okay, they've cleared this area out a little bit, so it might not be as serious as it has been in the past, but it's still quite a steep climb over there, and it's still mud, so it's still going to be slippery. Just might be a bit flatter in terms of the surface, but yeah, we can't really compare to the previous models we've tested, as it's going to be a little bit different. Actually, it looks quite churned up. It might actually be worse than it has been in the past. I don't actually like the look of that. That's going to be very slippery. I don't have a recovery person with me, so if I do get stuck, it doesn't look like it on camera, but it's really boggy and slippery, and it's quite steep. I might go around the other side first and check from the top. We'll see how we go over this little jump. I go too fast to start with. Speed limit is apparently 100. Yeah, really good. That didn't bounce at all. Just, I mean, it didn't go that fast, but I reckon I could hit that pretty quick and it would be fine. Okay, we'll go a bit faster this time. I reckon it'll be totally fine. Yeah, beautiful. I don't even think it got air. It just remained just on the ground the whole time pretty much. I think that's going to be too boggy for us today. They've had some earth moving equipment down here, and even as I sit here, it's almost sliding a little bit. But up here we can see there's big deep wheel holes and then two tracks through there that are just carved straight in the middle. I'm just not sure if we could push it through that. I don't have any recovery gear with me or anything, which is not ideal, obviously. But usually through here it's quite mild. But today I'm not really willing to take on that. Unless I can get up over to the side there, maybe. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate we couldn't tackle the normal loop that we do, just so we can compare it against the different utes and 4x4s that I've done recently. But yeah, I've got no doubts that this thing could go pretty much everywhere. It's got all that ground clearance. I would probably consider all-terrain tyres if you were going to go off-road regularly. I feel like Volkswagen has put highway terrain tyres on it just because they know that people are probably going to upgrade it if they wanted to, and that way you've got your own option there, what tyre choices you like. The four-wheel drive system, it's great to have that 4A mode, so you can go on the tarmac with 4A, or you might hit a dry patch or something like that, and not have to worry about flicking it quickly back into two-wheel drive. But then you still have 4H mode, so basically locks the front and rear together. And then you've also got the low range and a rear diff lock as well. Should you buy one? Well, the price starts from around $71,000. And for that sort of money, you can get a Hilux Rogue. Now, the Rogue is more of a workhorse in my opinion. It's got more hard-wearing materials, but it's not as refined, it's not as quiet as this, whereas this is definitely going for a more premium edge. So if you do want that premium comfort, European style of driving for most of the time, but you've still got awesome off-road capability, then the Amarok is your pick, I think. I wouldn't probably go with the 4-cylinder. I'd rather the V6. It just seems to suit the nature of this style of vehicle, this approach for a ute. Just very quiet, effortless on the highway. It's going to be easier to tow with. And it seems to be matched a bit better with the 10-speed. As I've said before, with the F-150, that's got a 10-speed as well. And it doesn't seem that bothered. Like, it's not changing, it doesn't seem like it's changing gears constantly. Whereas in the 2-litre engine, it just feels like it's really hunting around to try and find and try and maximize the torque. Still goes really well, and it has awesome fuel economy. So if you do want economy as your top priority, then yep, that's definitely the one you should look at. But overall, I think the V6 Amarok is just a nice balance between everything. It's got good, decent economy, but got that low-end torque, and then it suits the quiet and premium nature of what this vehicle is. Even though this is just a style version, it's not the upper spec model, it still feels way more premium than most of the rivals. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully next time we come out here, they'll have finished all their works so we can go around the usual loop. I like doing a standard loop, as you probably know, with performance testing. It's got to be the same road, the same conditions and everything. That way we can stack it up against other models that we've tested. Thanks for watching.